happy summer, y'all. For most of us, well, at least for me, I made it to summer. If I didn't get to summer school, I'm currently recording this on April 16th, in fact. Anyways, happy summer, guys. Anyways, I just want to say this interview, it was with, if you didn't tell, it was with one of my the current like students I was schooling with, and she agreed to do an interview with me, which she is also a director and editor as I. So I think why not? She's a cool chick, so why not? Anyways, Harper, thank you for coming on. Maybe we could do it again in the future, and let's roll. By the way, she's graduated, and I currently don't go to Central anymore, so please don't come looking for me. See ya, officially. All right, we're live. And today we have Harper on. Thank you for coming on my show.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you.
So before we get started, could you introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, my name is Harper Egge. I go to Roosevelt High School. This is my second year in the film and broadcasting program. Outside of film, I participate in my school's show choir. I'm the student director there. I am also in my school's varsity orchestra. I've played the double bass for 9 years now. And I love to do theater. I'm also in Roosevelt's theater department.
Nice. And you said you're a senior?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you like it so far? Like, how do you like the school?
Yeah, I've always loved being a part of Roosevelt and being in the Roosevelt community. I think it's a great school, and it's definitely furthered my education and helped me get involved in a lot of things and supported me.
Got you into creating films, like you're in film and broadcast for one.
Yeah, that kind of started around COVID. I'm one of those people who I have a new future career every week. But during COVID, I started to get really into movies and analyzing movies and TV shows. And I always have loved like writing and writing short stories. And I was like, wait, I could make a career out of this. Why don't I write like movies and scripts? And so I took a couple script writing courses and kind of stuck with it from there. It was one of those things where I didn't know I would stick with it, but I just fell in love with it.
Was it like 8th grade, 7th grade? Because for me, it was like 7th grade when I first like got introduced to like, oh, this is a cool thing. You can actually make a career out of it, you know?
Yeah. I kind of realized it's what I wanted to do around 8th grade. I remember that Christmas, my mom had gotten me a screenwriting book because I had just started to express interest in it. It's a little outdated now. It came out in 2006, but the title is just Screenwriting. I actually forgot the author. I've read it so long ago. But yeah, it kind of talks about like the technique and different ways of writing for film and what you want to do, like how to structure a plot and stuff like that.
What sparked your joy though? Like what exactly sparked your joy?
This is a story I tell all the time. It was after I shot my first film. It was my sophomore year of high school. And it was one of those things where I was like, I need to start building a portfolio if this is what I want to do. Iowa High School Speech Association has a short film category, and my school was participating. And it was one of those things where it was like, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So I was like, you know what, Harper, you're just going to make a film. You're just going to do it. And so I wrote down this script, and I shot it, and I had the cast, and the whole process, like you can always think about something and think about how you want to do it, but once you actually do it, you'll never know how much you'll love it or dislike it. And I just loved it. And I fell in love with directing. That we shot it in one day. And that one day was some of the most fun I've ever had. And I just realized it's something like clicked in me.
I remember back in like, I think it was December, you and some other guy, you made a mockumentary of like the Crucible, like the play, like kind of like it was a mockumentary behind the scenes, you know? Mm-hmm. Not of the play, but you get what I mean. Like, yeah. Why did you think that was a good idea? Like, you know, of like, I don't know, just like that kind of play.
Well, I actually didn't choose the play. I had the idea the summer before the play was even announced. I had the idea that summer because I love sitcoms. I'm a big sitcom fan. And, you know, some of my favorites have been mockumentary style, you know, like The Office, Modern Family, Parks and Recreation, Abbott Elementary. I've always had this love and affinity for that style of comedy. And one thing I know a lot about is theater kids. And I know how dramatic theater kids can be. And I was just driving home one day and I was like, what if I just made this mockumentary about theater kids? So I had the script written and everything before the play was even announced.
Did you just adapt it to the play?
Yeah, we just adapted to the play, and it was kind of funny that it was the Crucible, because the Crucible is such a serious play, and it worked out so well because it was supposed to be this comedic film in the backdrop of this serious, intense play.
Said you adapted it, but like, what was the play beforehand, or was it just like you kind of made up a play in your mind?
Thankfully, my original script wasn't really centered around the play, so I would just leave blanks. Like, I didn't even have a title for it at the time. So like if you had a character interview, it'd just be like, I'm so-and-so playing blank. Like, I would just leave it to be filled in later. And then once the play was announced and once we had casting solidified, is when I went back and just made those small changes.
Where did you get all the people?
Yeah, so I am in theater, so I know a lot of these people, and most of them are my friends. So it's usually, I kind of harass them and I tell them that they should audition. My friend Thomas and I, who is my co-director, one thing we always do is we always hold auditions, because you never really know who's going to show up on camera, how they're going to act. And we've had a lot of people surprise us. People we've had just kind of were like, oh, okay, they're auditioning, and then they've shown up and they've absolutely blown us away. So for us, it's really important to not just give people the roles. So most of those actors were just from the theater department, and a lot of them were my friends who I was like, hey, we need actors, please audition. And I petitioned my theater director to advertise it. And we just had a pool of about 30 people, and we had to narrow it down from there. And we have a clause in our audition. We make people fill out an audition form so we can sort out times and like keep track of everyone's auditions. But we have a clause there that's like, these are student directors, like these are your peers, but we're going to be directing you. You have to show up. This is not a small commitment. Because what we would do is, how we'd film it, because we needed the set, was we would go to like a 3-hour rehearsal, and then we would shoot for 3 hours after that.
If you had an idea, what was your first like real film?
My first real film was called The Bench, and that was the film I made my sophomore year that made me fall in love with directing.
I remember seeing that. It was a good one, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm still really proud of that, especially for a first film. We shot it on an iPhone rubber banded to a tripod from the 80s. We had so many things go wrong behind the scenes of that film, and we were just first-time filmmakers, so obviously I'd had this idea of like having two people have a conversation, but one of them is like made up basically. Yeah. And I always love a good twist ending. So I had this idea always floating around in my head, and I wanted it to kind of deal with grief and grieving and some of the emotions that come with that, and having to deal with grief at such a young age. So, the film is about these two friends sitting on a bench, and they're having a conversation, and then, at the end, they start to argue, and at the end, you realize that one of them is actually dead, and this is their memorial bench, and the person has just come to lay flowers.
Oh, I don't think I got that far.
Shoot, I spoiled it.
Which one was dead, the girl or the guy?
The guy. He was dead, and then you kind of realize that how the girl's life has gone downhill because this guy was kind of this support in her life.
Hey, Danny. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while. How are you doing?
You know me, nothing super eventful. What about you?
Not terrible. My parents are being annoying. You know the drill.
Yeah, I remember. Since when you smoke?
Started about a year ago. Looks cooler than vaping.
Why? Wasn't your grandpa a smoker?
Yep, died of lung cancer.
Then you're really dumb.
Probably, but it's the only thing that makes me feel better right now.
Don't smoke, Danny.
Okay, let's talk about something else, okay?
Remember when Harry got hit by a car over there?
Yeah, how could I forget? The fact that he decided to cross there instead of at the crosswalk like 5 feet ahead of him never ceases to amaze me.
Good thing he only got a little banged up. He could have really hurt himself.
Harry was always pretty stupid.
I wouldn't say stupid.
I would. Harry was the stupid one. You're the nice one. And I'm the mean one.
Don't be mean to yourself.
I don't care.
Yeah, you never really cared what other people thought about you. Not even yourself.
And you cared too much.
Yeah. Should probably work on that. Might become an issue.
Exactly. You should just be more like me because I'm amazing and perfectly perfect.
Of course.
Glad you agree.
So, have you talked to Harry recently? How's he doing?
He seems to be doing just fine without us. He has his own thing with his own more popular friends.
He'll come around.
Or he won't. Don't really care either way.
Yes, you do. We both do.
Well, even if we care, he doesn't. He's clearly moved on. Screw him.
Don't talk about him like that. You don't know that he's moved on. It could just be an act. He likes to keep that kind of stuff bottled up.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem like a stupid act. Seems like he's moved on after 5 minutes and couldn't care less about us now. He acts like he barely knows me when we do have a forced encounter.
I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, who needs him anyway? Before him, it was just you and me against the world. After him can be the same.
How's school? How are your advanced classes? You've always been smarter than me.
You've always been too hard on yourself. But class is good, I guess. As good as it can be while still being school.
How's Jacob?
Still a piece of shit. Got away scot-free and now roams around trying to find someone else to terrorize. You know that the dick tried to apologize to me? It was the least sincere piece of crap I ever heard. He's lucky I didn't punch him in the face.
I think he meant it.
Don't you dare give that asshole any sympathy. He's a phony who should be punished for what he did. You can't keep defending him, Riley.
I'm not defending him.
Yes, you are. You always have. He was always doing some shitty thing that made you come crying to me, and then you would go right back to him. Why would you go back to him?
Calm down, Danny.
No, I won't calm down. I'm angry. I'm so goddamn angry. He is the reason I don't get to see you every day. He is the reason things are terrible, Riley. I'm failing all my classes. Did you know that? I can't find the motivation to do any of the work. It's gotten so bad I might as well drop out. And of course my parents are thrilled about that. We fight almost all the time. They don't understand how angry I am. The waves of crushing sadness that make me not want to get out of bed. They don't understand that I see you everywhere. You pass me in the hallway. You give me my groceries at the grocery store. You cross the street in front of me at a red light. I can't stop seeing you, and every time I do, I just lose you all over again. It used to be me and you against the world. And now the world is against me. Why would you go back to him? Why?
In the description of most of your films, there's a guy, I think, named Thomas or something.
Yeah, that's my friend Thomas. We actually kind of became friends by chance. Our sophomore year, we had a ton of classes together, and we were the only people who sort of knew each other in those classes. So we'd sit together, and we bonded over our love for screenwriting and television. So when I decided I wanted to make a film, I was really intimidated, and I didn't think I could do it on my own. So I reached out to my friend Thomas. I'm like, hey, I have this script. Will you direct it with me? And obviously, that was the bench, and it went really well. And we just tend to work really well together as directors. Yeah. He tends to get me more focused and kind of rein in some of my ideas. He's a good friend, but also a great director.
Are all of them made by both of you, or is it just like a few of them?
Our narrative short films, so The Bench, the Mockumentary, Endings, and then my most recent one, Blood on Your Hands, those have all been co-directed by us and then written by me. But I have a couple separate projects on my own, and he just finished his own separate project. So we do kind of branch out, but IHSSA is something that we'll always do together. Do
you have an angle you kind of go for each of your films? Or do you just whatever comes up, really?
I don't know. I just have ideas usually just kind of floating around in my head, and then sometimes something just sticks. My best ideas actually come to me in the middle of the night. Because I'll just be laying in bed and I'll be thinking, I'll be like, that would make a really good script, or that would make a really good character. So what I do is I open my phone and I leave voice messages for myself for the morning so I don't forget it. I've left myself like 5-minute voice messages, most of it utter nonsense, but some of it has helped me really refine my scripts. But I don't know. A lot of times between the writing process and the final production process, so much changes. And I always tell my actors that, because most of my actors are used to doing like plays and stuff where the lines are very rigid, you don't mess them up. And I'm talking to them and I'm like, hey, if you don't feel like this line is working for you, if you can't deliver this, let's change it. Let's make it different. I've learned not to have a crazy specific vision when I'm writing something, just because of how much something can change just depending on your actors. Especially with my most recent film, it was so important to me to make it a collaboration with my actors, because they're also creative people. And I really want to encourage my actors to dive into their characters and really like resonate with them and create these backstories. And then obviously, we can talk through it, because, sometimes what they think and what I think are not on the same page. And instead of just telling them, we try and get to the same page, because if you're going to have an actor that just feels constricted with what they do creatively, they're not going to put on their best performance.
Kind of going back to like your senior in high school, you had like less than a semester left. Like, what do you want to do when you're out here? Are you just going to chill until you figure it out?
I'd like to go to college. I have a couple acceptances, but I'm waiting on to hear back from a couple other schools. I've applied to a lot of film schools and film programs because I'd like to do this professionally and go into the industry.
How do you balance your life with like, your love for everything?
I don't know. There's a lot of times where I'm really stressed and overworked. I'd say my junior year is a prime example of that. I had a lot of difficult classes. I was a big lead in the Crucible, which was very physically taxing. And then after I would rehearse, I would film this mockumentary, which was by far the biggest project I had ever tackled. So sometimes it does get overwhelming. I don't know how to I balance it, but somehow I just know I'm going to get through it.
It's like the Crucible, like the mockumentary was like 30, 40 minutes?
Yeah, I think it was like 28 minutes, so just under 30.
But still, considering you're a student, that's like big.
Yeah, and I had never done anything like that before. The longest film I had made was 5 minutes.
Yeah. We're both students here at Central Campus, as I mentioned before. And what do you think is like the best thing you learned from here?
I've learned that you can always do better. Before, when I didn't have a lot of access to equipment and everything, I'd just be like, hence the rubber banded phone to the tripod. Like I would just be like, okay, well, I can't get rid of that sound. Like I just don't know how. So it's fine. It's just going to be good enough. And because this program has opened me up to so many different like perspectives and techniques and equipment and editing, like everything is just here to help you. I realize how far I can push my film and push my creative abilities. So first couple things I made, I look back and I watch them sometimes and I cringe because I'm like, oh, I could have done that. I could have spent more time on that. Like, it's not about just finishing the project. It's about elevating the project.
Well, it was lovely having you. Thank you, Harper, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really cool.